Austin, Texas with DreamHack All-Stars with the Mighty K and the Fantastic 3 here at the desk as we get into our next series of the day. Don't know why I said all of that, it was kind of weird. As we get into Naventic going up against Cloud9. What a match. A lot of people would argue this to be the potential final moving on forwards, and I've tickled Gilly something weird.
Is that our band name?
I
The
guess so.
Mighty K and the what was the other? Fantastic 3?
Yeah, I guess so.
I can't tell if we are superheroes, like a superhero gang, or like a boy band.
Like Fantastic is like Fantastic
Oh,
Four.
I am down for a boy band.
Yeah. No,
I sing enough as is.
No,
like, let's go there.
Well, in the break, we were singing Wild Wild West, and I'm not making this up, so there you go. All right, so we have, of course, one of the most fantastic games to come along, but of course we should check in with the groups first to start things off. We have Groups A and Group B. Still kind of midway through, we will be moving on to our winners match in just a moment. These are the states of the groups so far. Lady and gentlemen, do you have any particular surprises? And I ask that very loadedly.
Again, this will be the first major tournament ever where Tempo Stormer COG gets 8th place.
Great.
Yes, I agree with great. That is awesome. I know Tempo Storm is one of those teams. It's gonna feel so good to give Cognitive 8th place, and I know I might eat some serious crow from this one, but I'm just putting all faith in my team, please.
After the 4-level Lily, I mean, I think it's a bold statement.
I don't remember that game for some reason.
Yeah, you
what
know,
happened?
just like I
You
blanked
blanked
out.
out?
I have no idea what happened. Just
I really appreciate Tempo Storm and ex-Tempo Storm just kind of discussing the current state of Tempo Storm. It's really fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
It's fun.
I mean, it was terrifying, that first game. And the second one, if they had actually managed to open up the map a little bit more, I feel like that would have been a
Tempo
lot
Storm could have
more
done a million
successful.
things better in game number 2.
But man, Astral Authority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please do not take the. We don't want to turn this into. Tempo Storm played really well. Astro Authority played phenomenally.
Gorgeous
Yeah.
play. And Talking Trees, my new favorite.
Yeah, he played very, very
Those
well in
force
this set.
walls.
Yeah.
And the Li Ming turnaround?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All we
So
needed
good.
was that Li Ming turnaround.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
That's a
I
game
think
I
everybody
remember.
did. They were like, wait, Tempo showing signs of life, and then it was like, nope, Chuck Testa, Fort, laser, done.
That's not a game you remember. That's a GIF that's on Reddit, probably. Like, that's how the scene works. All right, well, let's talk about Naventic going up against Cloud9, of course. We'll be taking a look at the teams in just a moment as well, as we do have the vetoes on route. So it's Garden of Terror veto, and then Infernal Shrines coming along for Cloud9. A bit more of an unconventional veto there
It's a
from
target.
Cloud9.
It's a target.
Yeah,
they don't
Cloud.
feel like they can take Naventic on Infernal, so already showing that they're adjusting to the situation.
Super happy that we're going to Towers of Doom guaranteed. It's like a game of Hearthstone.
No, I agree. I love towers. So
You
that would
spent
be
too
really
much
interesting.
time in Europe. All right, I'm just gonna say it.
No.
You're at the point where you love towers. You need to come back home. You need to come back home, bud.
It's in part my fault. I apologize that he's there
I
so
blame
often.
only you.
The uniqueness? What would you call that? Uniqueness? Craziness?
I can't. I don't know what words to use to describe. No, I like Towers of Doom now too. We've seen a lot more diverse play come out from it. You know, especially with the introduction of Dahaka, and now we're seeing more of the global heroes as well. It was just Falstad before. Now that we're Brightwing seeing play, and it's not just Falstad versus Vikings. So that map is much more fun.
All right, well, we are, of course, going to our first map, and I can't quite remember which one it was, so we're going to have a lovely surprise.
Tomb of the Spider
Take it away, Gilly!
All right, here is Tomb of the Spider Queen. We saw it a bit earlier. This is the smallest battleground, as the lanes are very close together, and that makes it very scary sometimes when you encounter heroes who can gank you. The battleground objective is to take out minions. They'll drop these gems, and if you can turn in enough gems into one of the 2 turn-in points, the Spider Queen will summon Web Weavers to push down every lane, throwing damage at the structures and helping you just be able to push your way to the core eventually. There is, of course, a boss here. It's in the throw pit, as well as some other mercenary camps, a set of bruisers on each side, siege giants in the bottom.
Let's be honest, Astral Authority don't know what the words throw pit mean when it comes to that previous.
No, they-
What is that? What is with that team and somehow narrowly keeping someone alive?
It's called being clutch.
Every
It's a support.
time.
I mean, that's pretty much sums it up. It's just,
Okay.
every time your health bar falls below 25%, somebody survives, you can thank your support for that one. So it was really well done.
No
You played-
bias. Hashtag no bias.
I was going to say,
Hashtag no bias.
is this a shout out to you?
No, it's not me. I'm not sitting here saying I had the plays. I'm just saying that the role is underestimated and its influence on the
What he's saying is if he was still a pro player, he'd be looking up the Dark Chimera right now for being a better one.
I'm okay with that one. That one's nice. That one's nice.
Yeah.
All right. Again, let's take a look a little bit closer at our teams, of course. Let's start with Team Naventic, actually moving through in their first series against Panda Global after a bit of a narrow series. I mean, we did see them actually drop one of those maps to start things off, but then coming back quite nicely on Shrines and Cursed. They did gather momentum. They definitely gathered momentum for sure during that series. The first one, call it a blip, call it whatever, Panda Global played it well. How are they stacking up here against Cloud9? How have their recent results been against Cloud9?
I just want to talk about Fan. That was probably one of the hardest compositions to play at Nolan into with that much CC, and
Right. It was, definitely.
he doesn't even play that role anymore. He's not a melee assassin anymore. And out of nowhere, what's the last time we've seen Fan on Illidan?
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
That was
Almost like Cloud9.
such a good performance there. And Fan being a former member of Cloud9, you know, there's gonna be that hard rivalry. I think in the notes I have, Fan said that his rivals is still Cloud9.
No surprise. I mean, after winning the World Championship and then being removed after almost no like major failure at that point, I think I'd have a little resentment there, a little grudge match coming into the set.
What were the particular reasons? Just change of direction in terms of like approach to the game? I
Yeah.
can't recall.
different-
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it was. It's
Yeah.
just
Okay.
the other four members of Cloud9 thought the game should be played differently than Fan. It was more of just
Yeah.
like a clash of personalities in game, not out.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of
Yeah.
that throughout all of the roster apocalypses that we've had in Europe, and then the roster mania that we've had over here. So, like, kind of a trend that we do see. Of course, McIntyre now on screen as well. McIntyre of previous teams, but obviously kind of getting on the jump ship when we had Bob Ross Fan Club actually be Naventic before. How does he kind of fit into the team? We haven't really focused on McIntyre too much.
We talked about it before. McIntyre he's one player who is kind of the focus of the team, but also in the way that he can play one hero that they just know they need to depend on, right? Like before it was the Gray Man, we've seen some fantastic Zagara play from him, and then Tassadar in previous tournaments and this one too, but they also could throw him on the Sonya. So it's really just something where they know that they can depend on him no matter what they put on, and usually it ends up being this one hero that kind of continues throughout.
He's also that level head,
Yes.
right? With
Right.
a lot of big personalities, a lot of, pretty big egos on that team. You need someone like McIntyre to be like, okay, we just want to set, but hey, let's calm down, guys. Let's, level it out and go into this game number 2, not feeling, like we're, going to dominate them.
And then, of course, on the other side, we have Cloud9, their first appearance here on stage today, our previous 2015 World Champions. How are they approaching this? I mean, as of late, they haven't had the best of records against Naventic. What are they supposed to do here?
I do know that they are trying to shift their drafting style. It's been very recent. It's about a week since they, decided we can't draft like this anymore. It doesn't fit our current team's atmosphere. So they will be busting out a different style than we've seen over the last few weeks. But will it be for the better? I don't know.
Yeah, I was looking at some of their drafts in hopes, right? Because you had told me that earlier while we were researching and looking at some of their drafts and then looking at what they've done in this tournament, and I didn't feel like there was a drastic change. I didn't look at that and go, that's not Cloud9. They still had specific hero prioritization that was a little bit different than some of the other teams. For instance, Thrall sitting very, very high, still consistently. And it's a situation to where like Zeratul popping up in specific situations, which, I mean, he's always going to be good in certain situations, but it just feels, again, that it's not an adjustment. It feels like they're playing their same game.
But they were against Team Name Change, so
Yeah.
it might be that they have something else and they're hiding
Yeah.
for somebody else. But if they're hiding it for anybody, it's right here.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there a bear on the cards? Can we see a bear anywhere? Is that something that they're...
Oh,
It actually
Misha.
could be the case.
Could be a case here on Tomb. I know it's one of the few maps they're willing to run on. Mainly, everyone knows Dragonshire is a good map here for them. But I want to go back to something Dredd said. He talked about how they still like running Zeratul, and you can kind of see how their failure as player is starting to make an effect. If you look at Gold League, Zeratul's been picked 19 times with a 78% win rate, but Cloud9, who still prioritizes this hero, can't get success with it. So is it their drafting in certain situations, or is it their just ability to play the game right now that's making them struggle?
I would argue it's probably communication. Zeratul, I think, obviously the players are very skilled on their own, but Zeratul is one that is very dependent on time efficiency. Like with his team, the minute the Void Prison hits, everyone has to be on the same page.
Right.
So it's probably, I feel like, more a communication area, because I don't look at Cloud9's roster and be like, well, this Zeratul isn't bringing it. I don't look at any of them to feel like they're weak players. It's just, as a unit, it seems as though they struggle.
Look at Astral Authority.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would have said Equinox is, the world-class shot caller, right? He's is very good at it, but you wouldn't think he would be the one to completely change a team. But just the addition of a single shot caller has changed that team drastically. Maybe it's time Cloud9, even though 5 fantastic players, like you said, maybe they just don't have room for 5 fantastic players. Maybe they just need 4 fantastic players and a really good shot caller to finally get things going.
Someone who makes them cohesive.
Yeah.
I'm very eager to see how the draft is going to go down between these two teams, because the last couple of times I've watched them throughout qualifiers, it felt almost like Naventic was winning the games in draft. Like, they just have a very, very good understanding of what they need to do against Cloud9, and Cloud9 isn't exactly executing well.
Right out the gates, I think when it comes to the draft, Naventic will just legitimately do nothing drastic. It will be, we're going to play our game. You have to prove to us that you have, like, that we need to be doing anything different. So
stable, normal compositions we're looking for.
You're going to see the same thing coming out of Naventic as you saw earlier. The high prioritization, for instance, on Tomb, they like the wave clear, like Tassadar, maybe Zul will be of high contention. I don't think there will be any kind of Kel'Thas, I mean, nothing surprising coming up from them. Because, I mean, it hasn't even been Naventic who had to take out Cloud9. Like, it's been some of the other teams here that have been able to do it, right? And Naventic's in a position where they, like, have always consistently qualified. So definitely, it's their draft is going to be solid, stable, what they expect.
All right, well, we are just waiting a moment here whilst we get this draft ongoing. As you can see, our admins are working with the teams to get this started in just a moment. But moving forwards, I mean, Cloud9 not having the best of paths during qualifiers. I mean, not only here, but also leading up to the next one, Burbank, coming up as well.
Right. Yeah. So, did not qualify until the final one.
Right.
Getting knocked out 1-2 to Tempo Storm, and then 1-2 by Gale Force Esports. That was when the first time everyone was like, who the heck is Gale Force Esports, and why should I be watching them? And then, in the qualifier for the next regional, they have yet to qualify, and we've had 2 of them. Knocked out 0-2 to Naventic. They were in that side of the bracket because of their poor performance in this regionals qualifiers. And then, once again, 1-2 to Gale Force Esports. It's like Gale Force is the bane of their existence right now.
Yeah, it's just been really hard for Cloud9 to see any kind of success recently, but I have faith. One of the things that I think we have failed to touch up on when it comes to Cloud9, as easy it is to kind of like mock the lack of performance that we've seen recently, is that they have the most probably prominent LAN experience out of all these teams, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, we've been looking at the results, not qualifying top 4 for 2 qualifiers in a row, and coming into this tournament, I would have said they're going to make top 4 just off experience alone.
And they've always turned it up at LAN events as well. There's been consistently times, even dating back to when you were on Tempo Storm, we would be going into events. Cloud9 is playing terribly in scrims. We're bodying them 5-0 one day, 4-0 the next day. And then at LAN event, it's like, they just 2-0'd us? What happened? We just bodied them the whole last month.
I remember that particular region, actually. It was quite a while ago. That was a fun one.
I remember an interview with Dunk where he actually said playing in front of a crowd makes it all worth it. It's a completely different mindset.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, they've been to China. They've lived there for a bit to actually participate in something like that. So that kind of experience is invaluable, really, in comparison to everybody else. But I mean, looking at Naventic as well, looking at their qualifying run, it wasn't exactly plain sailing against like the likes of Gale Force as well as Cognitive. It was 2-1s all the way for them in those last couple of series to actually qualify for this. Admittedly, it was a little bit ago, but it still shows that the American scene is being kind of narrowed towards everyone being still extremely skilled and potentially taking maps and even series off everyone, right?
One of the things is, you see this in other MOBAs as well, where a player who starts from the beginning, he just gets these thoughts into his head. And no matter how many changes you go through, if you played the original Vala and you think it's, played this one style, you're always going to start thinking back to that Vala, no matter how hard you try. It's only the top tier players were able to adjust that. And a lot of the players on Cloud9, I think every single one of the players on Cloud9 were in the early days of the alpha. So, is it to the point where they're just too dated for this game just because their roots are so deep in the original stages?
I don't think it's that they are too rooted, but their thought process definitely is, right? Like Murden would be a prime example in where he falls into the draft specifically. Obviously, he's still very, very great, but we've seen Cloud9 at times overly prioritize it. I feel like their thrall is very, very high compared to some of the other heroes, and so it's a pretty common thing to see a team kind of become stale when a meta drastically shifts and refuse to kind of adjust. And Cloud9, this isn't the first time we've seen it. I mean, even back when they used to be competitors last year before going into BlizzCon, like if the meta didn't fit them, sometimes they just said, okay, that was it. There was no adaptation. Promote meta is a huge one, in my opinion, that they never adjusted to. They would just like, we're just going to keep losing and we're going to be fine with it, it seemed like.
Right. And then on the other side, of course, you have Fan, who we've previously mentioned is an ex-member of Cloud9. How much of a determining factor and how much of an influence does he have on Naventic's approach to Cloud9? Is he able to read them a whole lot better than most?
I would say so. I mean, I don't, well, better than most, yes. I don't know if I would say that he's like the mastermind of Cloud9. He can like just rip them apart, you know, but I do think without a doubt he has more experience with all those players than anybody else. And then outside of that, you have Zuno, who's an ex-teammate with Arthalon, so that the only
Not just
adjustment...
Arth, with Kath and Dunk too.
They did actually play way back in the day, so all of them are a lot of ex-teammates between the two, so there is a lot of, I know this person feels this way about this, I know this person feels this way about this, which could come down to the draft and see major adjustments accordingly.
Do you think there's a time limit on that? Like it gets less the longer it goes? That's what I think too.
I think there's few things that do last that long when it comes to like massive like personality and like school, almost like school of thoughts, right? Their philosophical approach to the game.
Yes.
That will always remain constant.
Absolutely.
But necessarily their micro decision making like on like certain heroes here and there, typically that's not going to last past like a 3 to 4 month period.
Yeah. Habits in this game are as hard to break as habits, you know, in real life.
Yeah.
Once you've got those ironed into you, it's, you know, only the top tier of players can change that.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gents. Well, we are ready to go into the draft for game number 1. Thank you very much for your patience as we jump into Tomb of the Spider Queen. And we will start with what looks like Cloud9's ban over to the red-hand side. The red-hand side. Did I? That was
We
weird.
get your point.
Yeah, it works. It works. All right. So what are we anticipating here, guys?
Kael'thas, Zul, Tassadar are all high contention points, and what Cloud9 feels like they want to deny versus pick up on their own. I think this is what we can be looking towards.
As well as Sylvanas too.
Yeah, Sylv, I forgot to touch up on that one. I mean, both of these teams not only prioritize her, but on this map specifically is probably one of her best. So.
Yeah, and like you said before, I think earlier today, Naventic always looks at the Asian scene, specifically Zuna, and Sylvanas has been a priority on this map multiple times as well. So they'll be looking to either deny or let both through depending on how this draft goes.
I would say I'm surprised at how long this pick has already taken.
Yeah.
18
C9,
seconds.
it's not like they've been surprised that they're going to be picking first in this this matchup.
Yeah,
So
they've known they've been playing Naventic for a while, and yet they still don't know what they want to ban. They're
Yeah.
down to 8 seconds in their time pool. I agree, this is shocking.
Yeah,
It's kind of Cloud9 though. Like they can
Later
take a
in the
while to
draft, yes.
Yeah.
But this is...
Is that off? I guess our graphic
GG.
might be... Nope.
Stop.
Nope, it's
It goes
on.
with the Rhaegar.
Okay, so
Interesting.
I like the Rhaegar ban a lot, I think. There's so much on the table because of that ban right there. There's so many possible directions that either team can go with this.
I mean, technically, if Team Naventic really wanted to play a similar game, they could just start limiting supports. And that's a really weird situation to get in when double support meta is prevalent, but I doubt that will be the case in terms of how much priority is weighted on things like Kael'thas, how much weight is on Illidan's, etc.
I would argue, I agree with you if the map was going to be something like Cursed Hollow, where laning maybe isn't as relevant, but with the wave player being as prominent as it is on this map, I think that would be something that I would be less likely. I think drawing a pick onto Uther and then getting better wave player is actually a smarter move, so I don't think we can expect to see the ban out onto an Uther.
Well, it sounds like there was a little bit of a trouble with the draft. We don't know if this is actually going to be it. Like, we were so shocked at how late they're going just for the first ban. So that explains a lot, really.
Yeah, it does. So we will just wait a moment here whilst we wait for Cloud9 and Naventic to iron out some of the situations that are going on at the moment at stage. Thank you very much for your patience whilst we do wait here. I'm moving forwards, like looking at the rest of the tournament. You already mentioned that, you know, Tempo Storm and Cog actually being as low as they are in the group as a position. Aside from that, looking at Group A as well, we see that Naventic and Cloud9 being at the very, very tip top. You alluded to dark horses before. I mean, considering that Panda Global actually took a map off Naventic, can they still make room here? Can they still battle back to like actually push on forwards to maybe even advance to top 4?
Yeah.
I think if they play Cloud9, yes. I think they can.
Yeah.
If they play Naventic again, I think Naventic will win the set again. They see Naventic is very good at adapting to an opponent throughout in a series, and I think Naventic has already figured them out.
Right, they were already adjusting even after that first game. And Fan came up, he said that it was obviously a draft error. They weren't concerned at all after that, losing that first game, and that's not always the case for them. They can be very momentum focused. So for them to say, you know, it wasn't any problem, they felt comfortable and confident with that. But if they play Cloud9, they'll play Team Name Change next. Team Name Change is The best thing
Probably
going
right
for
now,
them,
actually.
yeah, they are
Right,
right
I
now.
get you.
The best thing going for them is that they really don't have a lot of games that have been played on streams, so
Okay.
they are kind of hidden. But I think that Panda Global won't have a problem if they throw out any crazy strategies for them, and then we very likely could see them going up against Cloud9 tomorrow.
Cool, cool. Well, I've just been informed as well that we will actually be restarting the draft, I believe. So once everything is ironed out on stage, then they'll be throwing that straight away up on your screens.
There's one thing when it comes to the draft that I want to be looking out for, and I touched up a little bit in the first game coming from Naventic, is that they are willing to let Kael'thas go through. And then I don't want to actually speak about the picks specifically that we most likely can see out of that, but they have a very heavy pattern, especially on small maps, of giving you the Kael'thas and then doing a very hyper-aggressive style wave clear-oriented composition as a response. And that might be the case here, but we won't know until we get into the draft. I want to know if Illidan is going to be a problem on such a small map. Most of the teams kind of neglect it, as we saw Tempo Storm didn't have necessarily the most success with it on a smaller map. But at the same time, Europe specifically, it will run Illidan in any situation and actually make it look pretty, even when it comes to like lopsided, if you will, matchups like Silence Monkey versus Team Liquid. If it wasn't for BKB and a legendary tour bus, that Illidan on Dragonshire was going to win the game.
Yeah, yeah. The 90% of the time they will pick it up if they want to, but then 90% of the time it's banned.
Yeah.
So
I have a question for the two of you, actually, being I consider Dred as well European expert at this point. He's, I miss you, buddy. Come back home to me. Zul, what are you guys' thoughts on Zul right now?
My personal or European approach? Because Europe views it way different than I do.
Okay, so where do you think it is then, and then we'll get Colaris'
on
thoughts.
specific maps where it's wave clear oriented or smaller ones, he becomes a legend. He pairs with Tyrande on maybe some of the larger ones. I don't like it necessarily, but it is an option to be going with. But it does seem like Europe is willing to neglect him a little bit more than I would like to see.
yeah, there's some more of the, I guess, I don't want to say quirkier, because that's just that doesn't mean anything. There's some melee assassins that do like to run in there. Like you see him on Infernal Shrines from time to time. They like to get that follow-up on the stuns, etc. As you were mentioning, can't really add too much more on that, really.
You know who I like to see Zul with? Dahaka.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With the prison after?
Yeah, you put the bone prison down, you drag them so they can't get away, and then all of a sudden you don't have that warning, I must run away now, I'm about to get bone
Danger,
prison.
Will
No,
Robinson,
danger, you are going to be gone.
Yep.
This has been a really interesting day today, Colaris. I mean, you heard the buzz about how the region was in this flux, right? You've been watching the qualifiers. Did you think it was actually going to be this bizarre from the other end of the matches we've been seeing?
I like how you're asking me questions now. I appreciate that. That's
this guy knows his stuff, man. He knows his stuff. He's the foreigner, but he did his research.
Thank you very much. I loved that, well, I was able to do even a lot of watching it on the plane. I actually download all the VODs and make sure that I was doing that. I mean, the funny thing is I actually already watched all the qualifiers whilst they were going on at really late times. Thanks, guys. But also, like, yeah, I watched some VODs and stuff like that. No, I after watching the qualifiers, I did expect partially it to be like this. I didn't expect Tempo Storm to lose to Astral Authority, but I knew that there was definitely a possibility there where Astral Authority could upset.
Dred is dancing over there.
I was gonna say, like, he put me on tilt there.
I mean, it's just like in my mind, if you were to kind of give a comparison tournament-wise, this is in my head coming like we kind of swap roles word for word. Katowice, right?
Yeah.
Exactly that. You have your top four. One of them is just going to completely get knocked out in groups.
Yeah.
You have this underdog that you haven't really heard of, does decent in other situations. Bam, second place. Like if that is going to be the case, it's going to be like the My Insanity where it comes out of nowhere. Bam, they're going to be second place, and then renowned from that point on. But moving into the draft here, already got it going on. Zul was going to be banned out there, and Tacit are on the side of Cloud9. I do like that ban on C9 tap.
I am really happy with both of the Naventic's pick here, denying Murden from King Caffeine, as well as picking up Sylvanas when Zul's banned. I really love this from Naventic.
Kael'thas and ETC adding Tyrande so that she can help with the lockdown, of course, pairing Tyrande and ETC together. Something we see fairly often, and they have a lot of possibility of catching somebody with either Gravity Lapse, Power Slide, Lunar Flare 2, and being able to take them down with Hunter's Mark.
I mean, what stands out to me at the moment is that, yeah, okay, Naventic have Sylvanas, but this actually looks to me like the best draft so far that Cloud9 has had against Naventic in quite a while. Is that fair to say?
This fits
No,
their style completely.
And actually, it's a subtle thing that I think maybe some people miss out on. The banning of Tassadar did a lot of things. So number one, that is one of the picks that is a response to their Kilthos, letting it go through the draft. Number two, it denies a majority of the wave clear, which is a struggle when facing against the ETC Toronto composition. And number three, it removes the shields, which is one of the best responses as well. It's a triple win when it comes to the ban and pick order so far.
And it completely denies Illidan because of all those reasons. You lack the wave clear suddenly, you lack the extra survivability, and you will lack that pivotal vision on this map. So I agree with you 100%, Jared. That was a perfect ban versus Naventic. We're going into the mid-tier bans. Naventic thinking very hard on what they want to deny. Do you think Dread will see an Uther or Rhaegar here?
Yeah, maybe. It's typically Naventic actually prioritizes ban chokeholding, or tank, excuse me, but obviously that's not going to be an option, so they opt into the support chokehold. Not going to be a surprise. Cloud9 has a lot of options. What I'm surprised to see, actually, is if Naventic also, one of the responses was always going to be the Thrall. And Cloud9 has been picking up Thrall very, very heavily recently if they were going to try and take that as a response on smaller maps.
I would love the Rhaegar deny here.
I was thinking exactly the same thing.
That
Just limit the weirdness of this support system.
That forces Naventic onto a solo support like Karazim or something. And they already have the Toronto, so if they do end up with Brightwing or something, it would have worked out. But they go with the Li Ming ban instead.
One thing, too, when it comes to the ban onto the Rhaegar in this situation is actually Naventic doesn't run Karazim as a solo healer. It's with Tassadar.
It would have been great.
Another awkward pairing with the Tassadar ban.
At the same time, removing Li Ming, I mean, it does remove some of that poke, and we've already seen how powerful she can be in some of these choke
on this map
locations.
specifically for some reason.
Well played, National Authority.
Yeah.
And it will be.
There it is.
Siege can be very, very good.
Boys.
Thrall and Rhaegar, the pickup for Team Naventic. But yeah, Li Ming Siege can be very good. Also, you want to have good heroes who can poke safely and stop team members from turning in. Tassadar is one who does that. Li Ming too. So they're also getting the deny from that, whereas they have Tyrande. Tyrande with Sentinel build, especially with Pierce, can be pretty tough to start turning in for your opponents.
We have 2 of the 3 orcs in this game. Are we going to get the 3rd? Is it time for Misha and Rexar to join the fray? We've seen them run on this map, specifically versus Zul. But is it time to see another double warrior from the Cloud9 boys?
Half orc, half ogre.
Oh.
I just
tilted Kalaris harder than I've ever seen him tilted.
How dare you not know your lore, sir?
That's funny because I was actually raging at Dread earlier for calling Lunara an animal.
Oh, you were?
She's a dryad, Dread.
I guess so.
But I just did the same thing.
But we're all animals, especially in Hero League. Lol. All right, well, Malfurion potentially being this is a bit of an interesting one. I get it between lanes, choking out like for roots, etc., but
Malfurion's actually the best healer into Sylvanas. A lot of people kind of forgot that for a long time.
Oh no, are they
half-orc boys?
Malfurion, you see him when you have the double warrior a lot of times as the support. I mean, they have the Tyrande too, but is this it?
I made the raw before.
Six heroes instead of 5, with
half
one of them
boys.
being a bear.
We got a half-orc, half-ogre in the house. Thank you, guys.
I appreciate the consistency.
Yeah, I got your back, man.
All right, Naventic, what do you do in response? Rex.
That is a gem.
Only in NA.
I love every single thing about this.
Is this real life?
Only in NA. Only in NA, man. This is...
Oh, my goodness.
All right. We don't have the best setup here for an Asmodan. The closest thing to setup they have is Sylvanas' W Dread. Is it going to be hard for them to build stacks?
So I want to pull away from just getting the stacks, because obviously he's pretty much the only setup, right? It's what I'm more worried about is not even getting the stacks, because they've set it up where he can stack a little bit easier on his own. But it's more importantly that where does Asmodan's power spike come into play, and where does Cloud9? So that in my head is actually going to be a bigger qualm rather than the actual stacking itself, largely because whenever you saw Asmodan back in the day, even at BlizzCon, we said EDG ran it, or Dig ran it against EDG. It's just you run a hyper-aggressive composition. What is that? Kilthos, Rexar, Tyrande, and ETC. It stuns all day, and they're going to be dying before they can even get the stack. So I'm more worried about the stun lock in the early game.
The most recent time that Cloud9 played versus Asmodan was versus Gale Force eSports, and it was one of the most one-sided Asmodan games I have ever seen.
That was on Blackheart's Bay.
That was on Blackheart's Bay.
Yeah, that wasn't even Tomb.
But it's a more appealing map. So Blackheart's Bay works better for his passive and for his split pushing, which is really good, but he doesn't get that on this map where he gets better stacking, debatably, on this map.
You can sit middle and just stack, as long as you have the damage there. But I've got to stop you there for a moment, guys. Of course, we need predictions whilst we're going down this. We're going to go down the line. We're going to start with you, Gilly, and we're going to go all the way down So what do you think?
I believe in the power of the Rexar. I want a Misha win. I'm going for Cloud9 here.
Space Lads for life, giving it to Cloud9.
Naventic.
Any particular reasons?
There's no reason to believe that Cloud9 has adjusted their drafts accordingly enough to be able to deal with Naventic right now.
All right.
It's like
All logic, no heart, man.
innocent until proven guilty, man.
No heart.
You used to believe.
I used to.
And then you started hanging out with him.
He believes in the heart of cards.
I give him money, it's fine. All right, well, I guess I'll add my predictions along as well. I'm actually going to go with this guy. Look, Euro Bros, woo, that's fine. All right, well, thank you very much, guys. And you can disown us, it's okay.
It's okay, we're just getting rid of you.
All right, that's fine, that's fine. I'm okay with this. All right, we are going into game number 1, and I'll send you over to the capable hands of Zoya and Gillyweed.
Thank you, James. I'm hyped. We have not only a Rexar, but an Azmodan coming out right out of the gates. These guys are ready. They are ready to win this because the winner of this gets to go to the semifinals, and they don't have to play that first match of the group tomorrow.
When we used to see old Tempo versus old Cloud9, we usually got really weird towards the end of the set, right? Towards that best of 3, best of 5.
We're cutting that out.
We're starting hard with game number 1 here. This is going to be an interesting game. You know, that was really cool style. The only way Cloud9 is going to win this game is if they change their play style from before. But go ahead, Gillyweed, and take it with our introductions.
Here we go in the blue. It's Team Naventic with Kenma playing Rhaegar, Fan on Azmodan, Big Impact playing Sylvanas, McIntyre will be playing Thrall, and finally playing Muradin will be Zuna.
Here on the right-hand side of the map, in the red trunks, it's going to be Cloud9. K1 Pro on Kael'Thas, King Caffeine dancing away on ETC, iDream playing Rexar, Dunk Train playing Malfurion, and Arthalon playing Tyrande.
Starting to go in, there's the Taste for Blood pick up at number 1. That will be the key to watch throughout this game. Watching the stacks, if they can build those up, or if Cloud9 can delay it for as long as possible until they just get a lead that is unrecoverable from.
They have to have learned from their set versus Gale Force eSports. They let Michael Udall in that game free farm on Azmodan for absolutely nothing. It was as free as it could get. They cannot let that happen this game with Fan. They need to be aggressive, and I really hope that Rexar can assist with that. We already see the stuns going out, the Lunar Flares there, the Gravity Labs overlap just a little bit with the Malfurion Roots, secures first blood on Zuna.
Zuna goes down, and that's what they have to do. They just have to be aggressive like this, but they did body block the minions so they could try to more safely get those stacks starting out. Now, once Fan gets to 10, once he gets Black Tool, it becomes a lot easier for him. But until that point, he has to be babysat, and Cloud9 can take full advantage of that whenever possible. Look for picks like that, try to slow it down, and then also try to get as many turn-ins as possible so that when they get to that, they're down to maybe their keeps or maybe even less.
We are seeing that it's going to be the cooldown reduction onto Hunter's Mark here for Tyrande. Going to be going for the more aggressive playstyle. I'm not going to be seeing the standard Owl build we see, which has been doing so much damage as of late. So I'm curious. I really like that a lot because with the Misha, you get so much free setup on that stun that you can just secure so many easy kills with that cooldown reduction.
Yeah, they know they need those early kills, especially to slow down the stacking, whether it's on Fan or somebody else who's integral to that rotation process. So having that, making sure they have that as often as they can will be really good for them. Going into another
Zuna!
Zuna
He's taking a lot of damage.
Again.
He gets the Dwarf Toss out. He's so low. Can Misha secure the kill? K1 Pro afraid to go in for the Flame Strike. Gets the Gravity Up on no one. Big Impact haunting ways back. No deaths. Not even on Misha.
Yeah, Misha's staying alive. iDream doing
Please
a good
don't die.
job of leashing her back. I know, it's just so sad.
I can't handle that bear dying.
Can't do it. Protect your bear with your life, iDream. But here we go, teams starting to get to their level 4. We have Moonburn for Malfurion.
Oh, Zuna so far forward. The Lunar Flare lands. Gravity Up's fault. Zuna has died twice this game. Beautiful CC coming out from Cloud9. They don't even have Malfurion roots to assist with these.
I love the side. How K1 Pro is coming out from the side. So the minute that they have the power slide in, he can go around from the side and Gravity Labs to follow up with that. So they make sure that they can even take down the Warrior. The fact that it's Muradin is just fantastic for them.
We have a almost half-level lead here for Cloud9. Taking a look at the gem counts, both are still pretty low. And we see both teams, Cloud9's not really collecting the gems right now. Naventic is also playing very safe because there's so much CC on the end of Cloud9. And you have to go back. I believe it was Gale Force eSports that figured it out versus C9 where they just started banning Tyrande.
See how this is going to work. But level 4 now with the talents taking flight will be the choice for Rexar. That increases the range of his spirit sweep. And yet another fight. There's a power slide, but this time Zuna gets away before the stun lock comes in.
Now, when they get level 7, yes, they will have a little bit more breathing room with Cleanse on Rhaegar, but there is so much CC, and Cleanse is such a long cooldown. It'll be hard for Cloud9 not to secure kills even around Cleanse.
Right, yeah, they have Misha, they have the roots too, which with the setup that they have, it shouldn't be too hard to hit the entangling roots even from that. Everybody has some sort of stun.
Yeah.
Or root for Malfurion.
Yeah, it's a lot of CC on the end of Cloud9 here. As they're about a full level up right now. Taking a look at the gem counts, Cloud9 up 10 gems right now, and King Caffeine going to sneak in 10 gems out here. Anytime anyone can just sneak in gems, it is so impactful for your team.
Right. The closer you can finally get to those web weavers, and it's almost like a breathing room once you start to get those web weavers. Plus, with the full level lead that they have at this point, it's going to be great for them if they can get the turn in too, because Naventic, there's not a lot they can do. They have to play safely until they can get to there.
Well, let's see here. We do see the stuns going on the Zuna. The Lunar Flare was a little bit slow there. They're trying to turn this around on the King Caffeine. He's going to go ahead and back out of there safely. Again, this aggression from Cloud9, I mean, Naventic is trying to stop it. You see Zuna getting in position to try and get the counter picks, but until Asmo gets those stacks and with Thrall bottom lane, you don't have enough damage with Sylve alone to secure kills.
Level 4 is Army of Hell for Azmodan. What this does is reduce the mana cost of his Demon Warrior and also increases its damage. So what you're doing is the Demon Warrior costs quite a bit without that, and you want to make sure that you have, Rexar goes down just as they pick up their first weapon return in. But yeah, you want to be able to throw those out, but you also need to make sure you have the mana for Globe. So this helps make sure that you can do that, and maybe we'll see Battleborn paired with that at 16. We've been seeing that a lot more in the North American scene.
Yeah, I like the pickup from it on Fan. He knows he's going to be slow on stacks this game, right? So he's going to try and compensate with not only just having the push from his minions help do damage, but also help versus the web weavers as well. And we did just see iDream die. While that does look like it was a bad thing for Cloud9, what that opened up was them getting this tournament because 3 members of Naventic were up top getting a kill.
And now the web weavers are starting to siege. Cloud9 has started to siege down some of the towers in the mid. Just wanting to get as many of these as they can so that they can try to get their heroic abilities earlier. Even if they could just get a lot of these to get close to 10, then they might be able to deny around the turn-ins until they have their heroic abilities and they follow up with a second turn-in.
Well, here we go. Cloud9 rotating up top. Rhaegar is very far forward. Are they going to get the stun on him? He's going very far up, and he does get into pocket, so he will be safe. I know they're looking for Kenma for a kill right now, sitting at 21 gems.
Yeah, anytime you can, when you get those that high up in your bank, it starts to make you psychologically worry about getting into fights.
They have a lot of gems right now,
Yeah,
too.
they have so many, 75 at this point. They would love to get the turn in before Cloud9 can stop them. Cloud9 don't have nearly enough to get a turn in, but they are still going to try to slow this down until they can get level 10.
Yeah, that's exactly what they need to be doing, is just denying those gems. I mean, they have the Tyrande, so they have the Owls for Vision to constantly scout to see where Naventic is. Cloud9 still maintaining about a half-level lead as they are getting closer to level 10. Now, Gilly, we saw recently when Cloud9 has run Rexar, they go Boars.
I know you love those boars.
The boars are crazy. Oh, Zuna missing a storm bolt there. I don't know if there would have been much follow-up to King Caffeine. Haunting Wave over the wall from Big Impact. I mean, they're aggressive on so many fronts. You have some members being zoned by King Caffeine. The zoning from Misha. Look how afraid Big Impact and fan are of this bear.
Yeah, because at any point they can follow up with more stuns. The bear is free to be up this far because of the fact that if she goes down, it's just a quarter experience worth of, quarter of a hero's worth of experience. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, they're completely fearful, especially because the towers are down there.
Yeah, and Menpet is just such a good utility on him to help keep Misha alive, even when if it's like, why don't you just try and kill Misha, right? I forgot the name of the bear for a minute, and I hate myself for it. And it is Boars.
Okay, so Boars will be there, Starfall too, as well as Phoenix, so a lot of zoning potential from the members of Cloud9.
Looks like they're getting a turn in. They got people up top too, getting free gems in here.
Right, this is perfect timing.
Is this enough? I don't think it. They do have. No, I think they're 3 off. Caster math. Don't hold me to that team.
They can do it.
Look at this build from Murden, by the way.
Whoa, Sledgehammer.
Yeah, this is cool. I like this a lot. This is just like they're trying to win a siege war here with the level 4 Asmodan talent. They're just trying to go and kill structures without turn-ins here, but it's not working for them right now. If they get these gems turned in, yeah, this is sick. And Zuna gets caught, but no, the follow-up was just a little bit slow there. Zuna able to dwarf cross out there. Was there a cleanse used? I don't think so. I think he just got the dwarf cross out.
Yeah, but think about when they do.
Oh, they're going for it. Oh,
Phoenix. Think about when they do finally get a turn in with a sledgehammer, with Sylvanas
You're right, with the
too.
Sylvanas, yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow, if they actually are able to get a turn, and you are 100% right, Gilly, that is insane siege potential coming out from Naventic. So that's what they're hoping for. They're doing a good job despite all of this. They haven't taken too much damage. Sundry comes out, Gravilaps does not actually connect with anyone. Wailing Arrow hitting Malfurion, but Tranquility, he still goes down.
Oh, Malfurion is out, and now Cloud9 in trouble. They have the Web Weavers, but how much more will they be able to get done with it because of losing Malfurion? Now, they still have Tyrande, so they have some sort of supporting, but without the Malfurion there, it'll be significantly less that they can really put pressure on. And Naventic are not doing bad. They have all of their forts still. They've sustained through 2 Web Weaver phases. They may lose one here. They may not even lose that.
I do love this shot calling coming out from Cloud9, though. They do. As the Gravilaps and Lunar Flare connects, Hunter's Mark goes down, the power slide's there. Big Impact's gonna fall.
Sylvanas out of here and nobody to defend in this top lane. And finally, Cloud9 find the spot they need to bring down the first fort of the game.
Yeah, really well done. What I was trying to say was Misha and Rexar were zoning out the rest of Naventic there. That allowed that rotation to happen there. Stormbolt from Zuna doesn't connect. The Lunar Flare Gravilaps goes down. He's taking a lot of damage. Will the chain bomb secure the kill? And yes, Zuna's gonna fall. The power slide goes down. The Misha stun is on Fan. He's very taking. Is the follow-up stun there from Caffeine available? It doesn't look like the power slide there. The body blocking from Key Caffeine. The knockback and Fan. He is gonna go down. And the Mosh Pit.
The Mosh Pit. Misha is in there, but they're behind the gate. The Flame Strike hitting Big Impact. The Starfall even doing damage too. They're gonna get away, but that was 38 gems.
Wow, that was a huge hit to Naventic. Great aggression coming out from Cloud9 there, and now they've secured themselves a 1-level lead as they're about to get their 13-tier talents.
See what they grab at 13, but they don't have enough for a turn-in. They're still about halfway away from that, but they're gonna be feeling fine to just sit. They have the Tyrande still with the Pierce at level 13, and they've done it before where they've just sat around the turn-in points, gathered the experience they can in the lane, really tried to watch and just stop them from getting this turn-in.
I love Wildfire Bears. Gravilaps connects with Zuna. I don't see Tyrande in range here, so Ancestral was used for that. They didn't even have their whole team there, and they baited out an Ancestral. This is a good win for Cloud9.
Yeah, Ancestral is gone, and Naventic immediately walk away from here.
They can't contest the turn-in until they have that back up, Gilly.
Yeah, and no 13. Still, they can try to at least get that. They're getting bruisers. They're trying to slow this down. They've only lost 1 fort, but still, Cloud9 is finding what they need to keep them from turning in, and every time they can take out someone who's a big gem holder like they did before, that's just going to further limit their ability to keep turning these in.
I love Wildfire Bear. That is just...
Why is that? Because it's a cool name?
It just makes Misha more awesome. And when you're already perfection and you get a little buff, it's a good thing.
You really love Misha.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
She is a bear, that's true.
She's a bear.
Level 13 almost here for Naventic, and then finally maybe they can find the fight that they want. Meanwhile, Misha and her lesser half Rex are hanging out in the top lane. Yes, there they are, trying to pick up more gems. They're well on their way to getting yet another turn in. They can just hold on a little bit longer.
Ice Block's going to help out a lot here on Malfurion. We saw in that bottom fight the reason why Malfurion died was because from amazing globe that came from Fan from middle lane. He now has the ability to avoid that. If he can't dodge it on his own, he now has Ice Block, so he won't die next time he has that, very important Tranquility down.
Right, and with having 2 supports, that will help when the globes start doing more damage later on in the game. But now 13 is here. Will of the Forsaken to help out Sylvanas. Will it be Hedonism on Azmodan to lower the mana cost of those globes, or does Fan have something else in mind?
I have seen Will of the Forsaken taken across multiple people across all regions, and Big Impact's the only player who uses it right, I feel. So I'm really glad to see that on him. I love this aggression coming out here from Cloud9. They're still a little bit off of a turn in here, but because 5 members are ganking Kenma down here, 37 gems on, you're not getting out of here, buddy. Power Slide comes in, Gravilaps goes down. Kenma at 6 kills to 2 in favor of Cloud9, and that's a lot of gems denied, Gilly.
Kenma just walked into the roots like, I accept my fate.
Yeah. That was
just do this. Yeah, but that was a ton of gems. And yet again, only 60, and they have yet to even turn in.
McIntyre trying to get in the boar. Nice from iDream, willing to use the boars to try and interrupt a turn in here. That was really good heads-up play from him. So 2-level lead here still for Cloud9 as they're getting closer to level 16, Gilly. And do they have enough for a turn in now? I believe they do, yes. We're going to see 3 turns in a row here for Cloud9.
That's exactly what they needed to do, is continue these turn-ins because of the siege potential from Naventic. We talked about it. Sledgehammer even picked it up to add to that, but between Azmodan and Sylvanas. But on top of that, just do so much damage that it's irreparable, that once Asmodean finally has gotten to the point where he has the stacks that he needs, they've lost keeps, and it's just too hard for them to even get back into the game.
Level 16 picked up here for Cloud9, Gilly, and this is where Kael'Thas, he makes so much magic happen.
Sun King's Fury on that, as well as Pyromaniac.
Yeah, I was curious why you say that's an Animaniacs to me. That was awesome. Yeah, those two combined together just allows, you know, K1 Pro, who's already a monster on this hero, to become, you know, a 1v4 monster. He can do so much damage with this hero. Web Weavers are pushing top and mid. Top being cleared up there by Big Impact. Mid getting free push for now, while Cloud9 is supporting their middle Web Weaver here.
Final fort falling for Naventic, giving 16 to Cloud9 and stuns on Misha. That is the best case scenario for Cloud9. I love the entangling roots at the gate, just forcing Naventic to leave. Naventic have a lot of gems. They don't want to lose 48 on McIntyre alone as this Web Weaver brings down the towers in front of the keep, and the pushes are in the other lanes too. Now finally they will clear this up, but Cloud9 has everything going for them in this game.
Does Sledgehammer work on the Web Weavers?
Yeah, it's non-heroics.
Well, that helps a lot for them when they're in these defensive positions, which we saw Zuna, he did Stormbolt that, and that is why I wanted to follow up.
It looked a little strange to you?
Yeah, I was like, well, maybe that was why. And yes, it definitely was. So level 15 picked up here for Naventic. They still got a full level to go. Cloud9 doing a boss right now with K1 and iDream. That's going to get, it looks like they're trying to stall it out with Malfurion, Tyrande, and ETC, but they're going to get this boss for this.
Yeah, I really like this. They knew they finally probably couldn't stop yet another turn. They had done so much to deny it for a long, long time. And so they said, okay, if they're going to get a turn in, it's inevitable at this point. Let's get a boss and slow it down. Make them have to defend this. They're not doing everything they could to push.
Well, there goes Power Slide onto Zuna. No follow-up, though. Lunar Flare comes out, Dwarf Toss over the wall. And you're absolutely right, Gilly. They have such good siege potential. With Sylvanas, with the Sledgehammer, with the Asmodean. They can't siege.
They have to
They
react.
have to defend.
They do, and that is plenty of time for Cloud9 to clear up the Web Weavers, saving all of their forts, continuing their structure dominance.
And, you know, it's at this point I'm really starting to question the Asmodean. Asmodean is the hardest scaling hero in the game if in the right composition. Kael'Thas is the second hardest scaling hero in the game in any composition. It's just so much easier for Cloud9 to utilize the power of Kael'Thas than it is for Naventic to use the power for Asmodean. They're just getting no value with Fan this game because he's just now barely being able to solo farm himself.
Right, he has been struggling, and it's not Fan, it's just Cloud9. Obviously, they know how to play against an Asmodean comp.
Yeah, they have lost many a tournament to an Asmodean in their old days here, but still a 2-level lead for Cloud9. They have a lot of gems here, not enough for a turn-in, but they're just going to go ahead and, you know, remove that stress from their minds. If I die right now, will I lose these gems? Well, not if you turn them in.
Right, it's a consideration later on too, once they know that Asmodean can start throwing the globes into the back line, but still the fact that they have the double support will help out a lot with that. Storm Shield will too once they can get to 20. 2-level lead for Cloud9. At level 16, a blood for Asmodean.
Oh, we do see that iDream kiting back. He used Feign Death to keep himself alive. Globe not getting too much value. Big Tranquility coming out from Dunk Train. Zuna pumps Avatar very early. He's trying to kite back. Caffeine is zoned from the rest of the team, trying to keep Kenmo away.
Oh.
Dwarf Toss over the wall. Nice Stormbolt as well. And Kenmo's with the support. But Caffeine goes in for the mosh pit.
He is rocking out, and Zuna has used everything to try to get away from the rest of the members of Cloud9, not even seeing the flank from King Caffeine. That will be one down. Can they catch another one? McIntyre gets hit by the power slide, and he'll get taken out. Rhaegar has gone down too. McIntyre just trying to take someone else down with them, but doesn't even get that.
And now they're in trouble. It's only Sylvanas and Asmodean 2 hold here. They get the combo on the Asmodean. And look what Kael'Thas does to Asmo by himself. 3/4 HP from that combo alone. That is the power of Kael'Thas at level 16. Good gloves coming out from Fan, but Cloud9 is so far ahead right now, and you talked about it, that flank from Key Caffeine where he was chasing Rhaegar. He was isolating himself from the rest of his team, but what he was doing was forcing Rhaegar to leave Zuna, and it forced Rhaegar into that chokehold with the Muradin, and Key Caffeine, he won that fight for his team 100%.
That was an amazing play by King Caffeine. It furthers Cloud9's dominance this game with nearly picking up their Storm talents at 20. They have enough for a turn-in. Will that be their choice to do here? Naventic has Zuna anchoring in the vents, trying to maybe stop this. Can he do it? The Storm Bolt gets dodged by the Power Slide.
That is Feign Death, right? It's hard.
Yes.
Okay. I thought I saw iDream use that. I love that. You know, he's going to be a focus in a lot of these positions, especially with how aggressive he's being with Misha and his own body. So he only used it for a split second just to avoid a bunch of bursts, and then he just backed out of there. So I love how he utilizes that. I've talked to iDream before. He picks multiple talents on this tier, and he only goes Feign Death when he feels he needs it. And I agree. With Wailing Arrow, the Muradin Initiation, the Thrall Sundering, Feign Death was a beautiful pickup here for him.
Yeah, you don't really need Primal Intimidation there as much, and Feign Death is just working out really well for him too, just to get the pressure off of him long enough for a couple of the heals to come in from the 2 healers. And here we go again, Red Web Weavers as Cloud9 get Storm talents.
We'll see here what they can do with this push. All 3 of these Web Weavers, Gilly, are going on to keeps. And I believe all 3 keep walls are down. Yes, because the boss what it did earlier. So this could be, this is definitely multi-keeps here. They would need the defense of their life to not even lose 2 keeps. But this could also be game if Cloud9 gets kills.
I'm looking at the Storm talents, Bolt of the Storm, maybe to help ETC get in for a money mosh. Also, kill command, so now the boars will root and do more damage. Storm shield to help out with those globes. Rebirth!
Wow, rebirth from Kale Thoth. The repositioning on the Phoenix. Let's see if K1 Pro can use it well. I've heard them tell me this. They like using it. Misha does not land her stun. They're trying to go onto this keep, but they're not overextending. They're wanting to be patient about it. There's the power slide onto Zuna, but no follow-up from the rest of his team. And the middle Web Weaver does fall, Gilly. Wow, they're holding this well so far.
Yeah, they're holding it. This defense is really good.
Sledgehammer, I'm sleeping on it. That is helping out a lot in this defense.
Well, now Cloud9 are forcing Naventic into a tough choice. The Web Weavers in the bot and top are now at keep level. There goes the root. The Ancestral Healing saves Zuna's life, but now it's down, and only Misha gets taken out for Cloud9. That's a little bit of time where the bear is down.
Hold on, only Misha?
I immediately regret everything.
How dare you? Well, we do see that the bottom keep is going to go. That was the most amazing transition I've ever done. We do see that no keep has fallen here. I said it was almost impossible, and Naventic, they've done the almost impossible, I guess.
Right, but mid, 3rd health, bottom, 1/4 health, so it's only a matter of time. That is not going to stand between Cloud9 and taking down the game. Taking out the core if they win a fight. Yeah.
And look at how low bottom lane is as well.
Right, it's like at a 1/4 health.
And that's immediately why he sends Misha down there. Root comes out. No! Naventic!
Leave the bear alone! Bear rights!
We need those. We need those in Heroes of the Storm. Well, we do see Cloud9 still going to keep pushing in this wave. That's a lot of minions built up there from the previous push, so this could be 2 keeps going down here. Still not even level 19 here from the Naventic, Gilly.
Oh, this is so tough for them. They're trying King Caffeine with the power slide, Lunar Flare, entangling Root's decimation, but it is Zuna who has the power of supports behind him to keep him alive. Misha! Misha, no!
iDream, what are you doing, bro?
He wants us to feel pain.
Well, the Flame Strike almost secures that keep. They should be able to get it with one more lob, and here comes a globe from Fen into the double stun. That helped out a lot. Look how low Arthlon got, but they did end up securing that keep. So 2 keeps down for Naventic. We're at 9 kills to 2, Gilly. And Cloud9 in that time, they've gotten 40 more gems.
Yeah, the Web Weaver phase, one of the lesser known things, I guess, about it is that it's a good time for you because you're pushing the waves in to be able to pick up more gems for on the way. So they're less than 30 away from getting another turn in phase, and the boss is active. This boss will go to the final remaining keep, which is available. It's the only one left for Naventic. And now, what do Naventic do? Do they realize this in time? It's Rexar.
Yeah, he can solo that while the other 4 zone. And last time that Cloud9 went for a boss, Naventic had enough gems for a turn-in. They don't this time. They have to contest this 100%. Misha and Rexar have taken this down 3/4 on its own. The Tornado zones them out, so it looks like the boss is going to leave. Wildfire boars come out.
There go the boars, and everybody's rooted. Here comes the fight, the Sundering down. K1 Pro gets silenced along with some of the other members, but nobody goes down in the Wailing Arrow.
Big impact! Rebirth! Will it represent? They get big impact. Mosh pit on 2 members there. Arthlon through the fence again. Takes out Kenma. They do have so much damage left. McIntyre trying to get the kill on the Arthlon, but there's so much sustain with the Ronda and Malfurion. Power slide comes out. McIntyre should be going down here. Ban's gonna fall to K1 Pro, and that should be GG.
That'll be GG. They can either run through here or run around to the mid, and it looks like the mid, the safer option. The minions have already been pushed up to this point as they can clear out that wave, but with 48 seconds until everybody's back from Naventic, Zuna going to tried to do what he can, but of course, so the stun block constantly here from Cloud9, and that's it. GG, Cloud9 take game number 1 versus Team Naventic.
We've been hyping it up this entire last few weeks, Gilly. Rexar was brought out here at a main stage here in North America, and he won. That was such beautiful play here from Cloud9, and we have to go back to the draft. I don't even want to harp on the Asmodan pick yet. I'm going to let Dread go ham on the Asmodan pick. I'm going to talk about letting Cloud9 get to Ronda. We've seen time and time again that when they get these CC compositions, specifically with Tyrande, doesn't matter if it's K1 or Arth on the Tyrande, as long as they have Tyrande, they control the game 100%. I feel like that was crucial mistake from Naventic letting Tyrande through.
And add Kael'thas to that.
Yeah.
That's terrifying, and it was. It was terrifying for Naventic from the get-go. They lost a few people in very critical moments, and the fact that they were able to stun lock people down, especially into the later game, and with the turn-ins too, perfectly controlled by Cloud9.
All right, well, good start there for Cloud9 indeed. Obviously, you know, you highlighted the fact that Dreadnought probably wants to talk about the Asmodan a little bit, so...
I can already tell from his face. He's
What are you talking about? I have nothing to say about Asmodan.
Dreadnought, talk to us about Asmodan.
Oh, okay. How do I put this?
You gotta phrase this very carefully.
Okay, so I don't actually dislike the Asmodan pick. I dislike how it was played.
I agree.
I actually am in a position where I felt like Cloud9's composition was very all-in, blow up the single target. Obviously, that's going to be really hard to deal with. If you don't pick a late-game, spread-oriented damage, like some kind of answer, and you run a traditional game, you're dead. That whole game would have been far worse if Asmo wasn't involved. I will say that I'm a little bit disappointed with how the draft a little bit before that had gone, with moving into the Asmodan later on. And actually, you could see in the mid-game, there was a couple of situations where Naventic actually risked far more lives than they had to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it's a situation where when you have Asmo, all you have to do is just try to make it to the late game. And like, for instance, the engage on the bottom half of the map, they just hyper-engage, no Asmodan, no stacks at all, like
Asmo
no
was top at the time.
They just hard engaged for no reason. And so I would argue it was how it was played, not actually the pick. I liked it.
Well, we can go on about that a little bit more in a minute, but we're going to take a look at our first replay here from that game, Dread. What do you got for
the
us?
upper lane, here we go. It's a one stun lock going onto the Zuno, 1-2 punch, and he's going to be going down later on, but the beautiful part's going to be coming after this. Obviously, Asmodan getting caught out a little bit with Rexar. Awesome, but then it comes down to this part right here, the body blocks.
Yeah.
Look
Oh
at
my
Caffeine.
gosh.
See you, nerd.
He is a legend.
But then he catches 2 other people here and actually secures 1 more kill, I believe.
I don't think, no.
They
all got out.
Yeah, they all get out, but it was very, very close and provided an immense amount of pressure against Naventic very early, which is exactly what you have to do against Asmo.
I mean, this is the thing. I kind of felt that at the beginning, I always feel that when you're playing an Asmodan composition, don't go out into lane that far. And they let a few kills early on happen around the level 4 mark or whatever. There was 2 kills already going over to Cloud9. So is that the wrong approach that they were taking, even from that earlier stage in that position?
I think a little bit. The biggest thing for me is it felt like Naventic, they would engage when they didn't prime the kills with the globe, and when they had primed it, they never engaged. It was very weird. Like, there was an engage on bottom where Tyrande got bodied by a globe. Halfway through, Murden comes in, gets the stun. No one falls up. It's like a Tyrande sitting there out of position 25%. It just felt like they just didn't commit appropriately.
Well, of course, replay number 2, as we take a quick snippet.
This is actually the hard engage, or excuse me, it isn't the hard engage. A kid caught out, but the boar is coming into play there, getting a huge snare on a large amount of people. Kemba getting completely caught out. But look at big impacts isolation. K1 Pro goes, that's not going to happen. Ends up going down there, a mosh pit to secure more kills, which is exactly what they needed to be able to win this game. So
I mean, even during all of that, it seemed like Mishu was taking most of the damage rather than anybody else. And you gets healed up by everybody from that point on. And I've got to ask, going into a draft like this, if you're not going to play the Asmodan in the correct manner at the very beginning, is it ever going to get work there when it's an unfed Asmodan going up against a Mouth Tyrande? Every single globe that went in, they backed off, healed up fully, went back in.
Yeah, so it's pretty much that they had to capitalize when they did hit those large globes and fully commit, throw out the Wailing Arrow as well, like just make sure that the target is going to die, and then from that point you keep on the chase and everything else. They had a lot of decent defenses, but essentially all they got is like, Cloud9's really good at this. Whenever they are on the back foot and they lose one person, they minimize their losses very quickly, and that one person's the only person who's going to die. That never happened that entire game with Naventic, which is exactly what you need to do when you play Asmo.
Well, all I've got to say after that game is the Americans on this side are up 1-0 in their predictions, so How do our European bros feel about that right now?
I feel like Cloud9 is still in the back foot, in my opinion. It's the same thing that happened at BlizzCon of 2015. There was a situation.
Well, we'll see. That it's hard to be this egotistical about my NA teams here whenever we haven't seen the draft yet.
Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. All right, we are on the way. We are on the way. Of course, make sure to go over to gear.blizzard.com with that 15% code for a limited time offer of all Heroes of the Storm merchandise. Again, very, very good stuff. Love it all. I've pretty much got it all. So go and get some of that as well. And we are going to go to a break. But when we are back, it will be game number 2 between Cloud9 and Naventic.